Welcome to the next project. This is episode 3 of our Fender MusicMaster short scale bass resurrection or resto-mod project series. We've got a lot of little things going on. We've got new tuners in the headstock, which is nice. We've got some old strings on it at the moment. We've got the body highly modified already. New bridge, this is bridge number 2 in it. Strung up to figure out how deep the neck pocket really needs to be. Oh, a lot of work to do. Let's jump right into the next project. We are taking a pretty large leap forward into the future, getting far, far away from the original 1970 vintage tuners that were in this neck originally. The owner wanted something modern and reliable and tunable and predictable. So we're going with Goto 350 Resolite tuners, very nice, very lightweight tuners, which should help this bass have a little bit lighter neck. But to make the change, we have to actually make some changes. Well, we have to open up the holes, which were rather small. They were a little larger than a 3/8 inch or 0.375 inch. And we needed something closer to a 1/2 inch to get the main shaft of the new tuners through. And then we also have to compensate for the barrel nut or the locking nut that goes in from the top of the headstock that threads down into the tuner body itself. So we have to oversize and create kind of a step opening or stepped hole, shoulder hole. What would it be called? Yeah, anyway, one of those. It's got 2 different diameters, a little bit smaller on the back, a little bit bigger on the front. So we did that. That's what we did. We're always trying to get stuff done, and we do have some progress. We have Goto 350 ultralight tuners mounted into our vintage 1971 Fender headstock now. We ended up having roughly a 1/2 inch hole through just to get the shaft through the headstock, and then the barrel nut that goes in from the top to tighten into the mechanism, the tuner mechanism itself, needed to be oversized from that. So we have a 9/16 inch hole drilled from the top, 1/2 inch from the back, so it's a stepped shoulder hole, if you will, to get the tuners in. That all went great. Moving right along, we've got the neck mounted to our temporary body because we have a new bridge, and I wanted to make sure I knew what was going on with the bridge before I started cutting in a new neck pocket into the body. So the owner and I both knew that this needed an 18mm string space bridge. He Googled it, boom, something popped up. He placed the order. We received it and found out this is a 3/4 inch or 19mm string space bridge. I'm going to take this custom bass that we have assembled at the moment and show the owner in the next day or so, and strongly suggest that he order a different bridge that actually has 18mm spacing. So we're going to give it a shot, show him and hope for the best. And maybe by the next time we take a look at this, we'll have, a new bridge place. We can blink our eyes and hope it happens. Keep blinking. It'll happen. As we continue the next project. So we tried our first bridge, which is a pretty nice bridge, actually fairly lightweight too. Unfortunately, the string spacing, which was 19mm or 3/4 inch in this case, was a little too wide for the scale length in relation to the width of the neck, the taper of the neck. Just really didn't accept it too well. So option 2 was a hip shot kick-ass bridge, which has adjustable brass saddles, which is pretty nice. And I did a 18 times 3 and comes up with 54mm center to center of the outside string spacing. Right around there. That looks pretty good.
So I adjusted the saddles, just the outside two saddles at this point, strung it up, tested it again, make sure that I was going to end up with a good string spacing kind of parallel to the edge of the neck all the way down. And it's looking good. Got my high-tech sewing thread out, checking a center line to the bridge, make sure my neck isn't tweaked a little bit in my custom setup jig here. All looks good. All the strings are on. Yep, it's gonna be all right. Still need to do final adjustment for string width and string spacing, but we'll worry about that when the guitar is all put together. But for now, I think we're moving in the right direction. Doing a little verification of the string spacing along the edge of the neck, a little adjustment on the outer two saddles at this point. Pretty easy, use a little bitty Allen wrench. Now I'm doing some kind of crusty tuning just to bring it all up to pitch, just to make sure everything looks good, and I'm checking my string height, there's action over the neck, kind of those fun things. One rather interesting thing is this hip shot kick-ass bridge comes with 3 different saddle heights that you can mix around however you want, or you can actually make your own saddles to go in the bridge too. So that's kind of a nice option. Everything is looking pretty good. We're in good shape. I know where the bridge needs to go in relation to the nut. I know where the string spacing needs to be. Now I need to figure out my neck pocket depth. I don't have anything to really go by for this. I mean, there's a standard Fender neck depth routing, but I don't want to assume that that is what I need. So I'm measure it up and do shallow pass routing and put it together a few times, do a number of tests to make sure I have it pretty much where I want it. Here we're just getting the neck roughly mounted to the body, verifying the projection of the neck back on the body. My center line lines up. Make sure the neck is going in the right direction. That's kind of important. Then we're going to also figure out where the bridge placement is, but hey, I shouldn't get ahead of myself. Let's take care of the neck pocket first. It is time to commit to routing the neck pocket, and instead of making a special template just for this, I decided to use the heel of the neck itself and my projection lines and some scrap MDF material to make my own template that really isn't even a template. It's just an edge for the router bearing to run against when I'm doing the cutting for the neck pocket. Bit of double-sided pattern tape or double-sided masking tape, whichever you prefer. Squish it into place, and we are about ready to make some fine wood chips. Yeah, this is pretty low-tech guitar modification right here. It's reusable though, so I can reuse these scraps and material for something else. So here we have a bearing bit mounted into the router, and it will just cut away doing shallow passes and use the MDF as the template. And I did put some thin masking tape along the inside edges of the template area, and that's just to reduce the size of the neck pocket even ever so slightly more, make it just a little bit tighter. I can always make it wider. It's hard to make it narrower though. The router bearing did want to just pull those pieces of tape off, so I did reapply the tape a few times as I was routing. Overall, the process went pretty smoothly. Again, I was taking thin, shallow passes, maybe 1/16 of an inch, millimeter and a half, something like that per pass. This is poplar, which is a very soft wood, so it cut very nice, very easy cutting, and it looks really good. Turned out pretty smooth. Doing a few more shallow passes, just creeping up on my depth. And we're going to see here in a moment that I use a little metal measuring ruler. But instead of just trying to eyeball the marks on the ruler, I actually put a piece of tape on it to make it easier to see. And there it is. And that way I can eyeball more easily if I'm creeping up on my depth and not overshooting my depth. The tape is on the other side where I'm looking at. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it here. That'd be nice if I'd show you. Do I have a photo of that? Maybe I have a photo of that. I should put a photo in here so you know what I'm talking about. I think I'll do that. There'll be a photo coming up shortly. Well, we're doing a test fit and it fits in there pretty good. What do you think about that? That's what everybody on the internet wants. I'm not a big fan of this. I want it snug, but not that snug. But we'll work on that later. The initial routing of the neck pocket is in place. The neck is dropped into the hole. I am checking my scale length, putting a few marks, one at the scale length and the other at the mounting hole location. Here I'm marking for the mounting holes and putting a depth stop on my drill bit. Well, it's not a depth stop, it's a depth gauge. Actually, it's just a piece of masking tape. Running one of the screws in to pre-thread the body. Little countersink to open up the hole just a bit. Some super glue, since this is poplar, very soft wood, I'm using some super glue to kind of petrify or just harden the wood. Dropping in all the screws with a little bit of beeswax on them and threading them into the body. And we're going to start figuring out where the pickup hole should go. This is based on where the humbucker was when I received this guitar. I'm not saying this is where Fender would have put it, but this is where whoever had this bass guitar in the past decided to poke a hole in it. And I think it was partially because there was already a single coil pickup hole in the body, so they just opened it up. The owner said he liked the way it sounded when he had it. So I'm not adjusting the position of the pickup any because that will change how it sounds, right? So we are just going with pretty much the spacing that I had originally. It's in a different place because the neck pocket's different, the bridge is different, yada, yada, yada. A lot of things are different. But we're getting there. We are doing some more custom template stuff here. And that is more scrap material, more scrap MDFs and some double-sided tape, and more routing. There's always routing and sanding. There's a lot of both. Who knew? And I could have done initial material removal with a Forstner bit, but again, this is soft material. I wanted to use the router to keep it clean and to also creep up gradually on whatever my magic depth was going to be. And that ended up being basically the depth of the pickup itself, which we'll see. I'll drop it in here in just a moment. Nope, a little more routing. Got to use the body as the template at this point, sorry. Oh, and now I'm measuring. There it is. Drop the pickup in. Now I have to make the recess wells on the end for the mounting screw ears. I have to plunge those down in just a little bit deeper. So we're putting in some blocking so the bearing has something to ride up against, and doing kind of a plunge route on both sides just to make a little bit deeper route for the mounting ears. I like that. Can you hear me now?
All right, so we're now strung up with bridge number 2. This is a hip shot, kick-ass, high-mass 4-string bridge. Really nice bridge. It is a flat-based bridge, adjustable saddles. That's to be expected, right? We have a 7 1/4 inch radius fingerboard, which is a pretty big jump between the two. Got it strung up, old strings on it at the moment. And I have the neck pocket routed to just where I have just a little bit of clearance. on the outside 2 strings, but I have nothing yet in the middle. Now I know I have to adjust the saddles up to compensate for the radius of fingerboard. I got it. But I want to have just a hair bit more clearance here than I currently have, because I don't want to have the saddles jacked all the way up, falling off of the bridge. So I'm going to go back and take out just a hair bit more out of the neck pocket, and then we'll be in a pretty good place, I think. Then it'll be time to start prepping the body for sealer. A lot to do. Let's jump back into the next project.
In the comments of the previous video, someone asked if I was going to be adding a truss rod access notch or cutout on this bass, and yes, that was the plan, and we're finally getting around to doing that. This was not an original equipment feature in the original bass or basses, but somebody did kind of hack the original pickguard up a little bit to get to the heel access truss rod. So we're just going to make it look intentional and professional. I am debating whether I will put the notch in the pickguard, I probably will, or if I will only have it in the body. So worst case scenario, you could pull the pickguard out of the way without having to remove the neck and get to the access. I'm on the fence about that. What to do? We'll figure that out later. But for now, we have just put a nice little notch in the body and squishing the neck back down in there. And it's going to look pretty much like that. Kind of almost professional. Not original. It's an upgrade. And we can use a long screwdriver. We can use, if this had an Allen type nut on the end, which it could get one. Allen wrench will fit in there. Or one of these bent, what do they call them? It's got a standard slot on one side and a Phillips slot on the other. It's a little screwdriver of sorts. Screwdriver wrench. I don't know what it's called. And now we're getting into something that's, you need to use the restroom. Now's the time to do it. This is boring. But a bumch. We are going to drill a couple holes before I forget in the body. One to run the pickup wire to the controls, and the other will be a ground wire from the bridge to the control cavity. So we got, boy, that's a long drill bit. Used a piece, actually that is a dog poop bag center plastic spool, I guess you call it. Slipped right on the drill bit, and it keeps me from accidentally marring or gouging the body on the far end of it. Gives me something to hold on to that's not spinning too. That's kind of nice. And here we are, we're sketching out where the ground lead hole needs to go from the cavity to the bridge, or the bridge to the cavity, whichever way you want to push your wire through. I did have to drill a little divot out there underneath the bridge to get this drill bit started, because it's such a flat angle. This drill bit just wanted to kind of bounce across the top of the guitar. So I did drill down in a little bit before I decided to go horizontally like that. So we got this hole in. I did not forget to drill a hole this time. That's nice. Doing a little touch-up sanding so it'll look good when I get paint on it. Ooh, look, it is time for sanding. I know everybody comes to this channel just to watch this poor sap do some sanding. Well, I didn't want to lay it down. There's always a little sanding to do. Right now I'm just going around the edges and knocking down any little router chatter marks, any loose fibers that are sticking up. Trying to get it ready for sealer, which is coming up pretty quick. Let's just sit back and enjoy a little bit of sanding. Doing a little bit of quick taping to protect the neck pocket. I do not want to get either sealer or paint down in the neck pocket. I want to keep it pretty clean. I will be soaking the neck pocket with super glue, or CA, cyanoacrylate, CA, super glue, a little bit later. And that's just to help prevent any moisture from coming or going through the neck pocket. Try to help stabilize it just a little bit. It'll also make this poplar a little bit harder surface, so that'll be good. But now we're mounting our little neck fixture or mounting paint arm. What do you call that? Anyway, this is an R500 LVLP spray gun. Low volume, low pressure. It is a Spray It brand, but that doesn't really mean anything. It's made by another company that makes pretty much all of these exact guns for a number of different brands. This gun is probably $60. If you go to, what is that, Alibaba, you can probably get it for 40, maybe 50. I don't know. I've had it for a number of years, and it came in a 2-pack. This full-size gun that you could use to paint a car, or a smaller, what they call a detail gun or a jam gun, like door jams. Use this big one for spraying this polyester sealer. This is Press Tech 2850. If you've watched Texas Toast Guitars, you've probably seen them use a Simtech 2850 easy sanding sealer in the past. And it's the same stuff, made by Simtech. It's rebranded Press Tech. So anyway, got a coat shot on here. This poplar is kind of fuzzy, soft wood. As soon as it gets wet, the fibers stand up. The end grain really soaks this stuff in. So I got it sprayed on, give it a little bit of time to tack up good. I think it was like 15 minutes or something. And I went back and shot a second coat of this stuff on. And if you check the cup there, I'm pretty much running out. So I guessed the right amount. I think it was 5.5 ounces of the sealer and what was it, 3 milliliters, 3 cc's of the hardener that goes with it. Sorry, I don't do conversions. So 5 ounces of one and 3 cc's or 3 milliliters of the other. Wow, yeah, I'm high tech. We got our second coat on. I've used up all but like, I don't know, next to nothing left in the cup. It's pretty much empty. So that's good. Need to let this set for a week, come back to it next weekend. I will sand it all out and shoot a couple more coats on it to help level it all out and get it ready for color. So that's coming up soon too. We have reached the end of this long and drawn out video. I want to thank everybody very much for hanging with me. It's good to have you here. I appreciate you. I'm glad you've been holding your breath because this stuff is bad for you. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up button, ring the bell for future notifications. Take care of yourself and those around you. Till next time,